Miniature Market has thousands of board games at discounted prices. Click the direct link below to see all of those discounted games. Hello my friends, today it's all about the Pina Colada, that delicious drink that's great to have on the beach. You got the pineapples and the coconuts, and man, they're so good. We go down to Rocky Point, Mexico, which is only about 4.5 hour drive from Phoenix, and it's beautiful for the summertime. Lots of Pina Coladas on the beach. Today we're talking about a Pina Colada inspired dice game called Pina Coladice. Let me show you how to play it. I'll see you on the other side. In Pina Coladice, each player has a cool little cup or drink token for their color. They're going to use that for putting things on the board and for scoring. And over the course of the game, you're going to be rolling dice, sort of Yahtzee style, re-rolling dice you want, trying to get different sets. Like in this one, I need to get 2 3s. If I had 2 3s at the end and I'm purple, I would put this here, getting me 1 point. And because I'm here, nobody else would be able to go there. The game scales for players, so when there's more players, there'd be 2 spaces, so 2 different people could get that combination. Let's show you how the board works and how everything else ties together. So each game, there's a randomized set of 16 tiles. Not all of them are used each game. In fact, there's actually quite a ton of these that you don't use. And you're going to be rolling dice and trying to place as I showed earlier. Now the green ones typically are going to be things like pairs. Like this is a pair of 1s, pair of 4s, pair of 2s, pair of 5s, pair of 3s. 2 pairs that are different. Although actually they can be the same pairs. Now, the blue ones are triples, like 3 4s, 3 6s, 3 5s, 3 1s, 3 2s. The red ones are the hardest ones. That's why they're worth more points, like 4s and 3s and 2s. So this has to be a greater than 26. Or this is like a large straight. This, 2, 3, 4, basically 5 in a row. This is like a full house, 3 of one and 2 of another. This is 21, 22, or 23 exactly. Now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different dice, for example. Now, at the beginning of the game, there's no tokens on here, and let's say you roll your dice. In Yahtzee style, you have up to 2 more rerolls. You can decide which dice to keep. So maybe I keep these 2 1s and I reroll this. Let's say now I have 2 1s and I rolled 2 5s. Let's say I want to keep the 2 5s. You can go back and reroll the other ones if you wanted to, but let's say right now I have this. Well, right now I know I've got this sort of locked up. I could maybe go for this full house and maybe I reroll again, and let's say I get a 1. So I've got 3 1s and 2 5s. So I could do this one. This is 2 pairs, right? I've got that. 3 1s, I could do this one. Full house, I could do this one. Now let's say I'm the purple player, I'm going to decide to go here. Now, depending on the amount of players, and this is like a 3-player game, there'll be certain ones that actually have 2 spots. Otherwise, they'll have 1 spot, meaning if somebody goes there, no one else can get that combo. I'm going to take the full house. I'm going to get 4 points. I'm going to go to the better combo score. Somebody else can go here. I can't go on the same one, so I'm going to get 4 points. And so I'm going to go like that. It'll be the next player's turn. If you can't place anywhere, you simply just don't do anything. It's the next player's turn. Now, why is it important where you go? Because this is a bit of an abstract game. Think of Connect 4, if you will. Let's say next turn somebody goes and they get like this one, the red player, right? And then say, when it comes back to me, let's say I end up going here. Well, I'm going to get 1 point, but you also get 1 point for everything that's adjacent to you, even diagonal. So I'm going to get a point for this because it's next to it. So I get 1 point for this and a 2nd point. Let's say next turn it comes to me and I go here. I'm going to get the 4 points, but I'm going to get 2 more. So you're trying to combo together to get things, to get a bunch of points. The other big twist in this game is that if you ever get 4 in a row in any direction, diagonal, up, down, or horizontal, vertical, you win the game. That's one way you immediately win the game. It ends immediately and you win. Done. So that means in this game, there is a lot of blocking going on. Somebody might really need to shoot for the 3 4s to make sure I don't get this. And so it's just as much an abstract game as it is a dice rolling game, because you're kind of trying to figure out the best, most efficient place to go, the one that's going to give you the most points, the one that's going to give you some combos, the one that's going to possibly get you to maybe get close to 4 in a row, but at the same time also blocking others. So for example, let's say it looked like this. If this orange player goes here, they're going to get 1 point, 2, 3, 4 points. So maybe this player comes in here and gets this to kind of block them from being able to do that. Now you'll continue doing this until one of 3 things happens. Well, either if someone gets 4 in a row, it ends immediately. Or if someone gets 20 or more points, you play to the end of the round, whoever has the most points wins. Or if you've placed all 6 of your drink tokens, again, you play to the end of the round, everyone has had equal turns, whoever has the most points is the winner. There is a happy hour variant where if you can't place, instead of just going to the next player, you roll a die and you do certain things like lose, you lose 3 points, or gain 3 points, or do different things with different players, move pieces around, swap tiles, do different things. It's kind of a little bit of randomness to help you, give you something to do when you don't roll. I don't like the randomness of this part. It really ruins the game. The games are close enough, and by losing or gaining a 7-point swing just because you rolled a die, I don't like this variant. I wouldn't recommend it. All right, let's first talk about what I liked about Pina Coladice. I like the theme, even though it's pretty themeless. It's an abstract game. It's a dice rolling game. It uses Yahtzee, stuff like that. First of all, let's talk about the presentation of the game. The game looks nice. The color palettes, the graphic design, the artwork. It just looks nice on the table. It's a nice production. So yeah, it doesn't hurt itself looking as nice as it does. This essentially is Yahtzee with an abstract component. I used to play a ton of Yahtzee when I was a kid with my mom, my brothers. And it was a game we loved. These days, the game Yahtzee itself feels, quite aged, where everyone else is doing nothing but watching you roll and such. Here, yes, only one person's rolling at a time, and only one person's using those numbers, where more modern games tend to allow some people to use certain dice that they roll, and some people, only the roller can use a certain specific die. Games have come a long way since Yahtzee. This one, you still only roll one at a time, but you are very much interacting with the players because it's that abstract component of getting the juicier spots that are worth more points. Getting spots that are, that are next to you to get even more points because you're orthogonally adjacent to yourself or diagonally as well. I like that you're kind of shooting to block the immediate victory condition. Oh, what? Someone's got 3 in a row? Somebody's going to stop them. You got to try and stop them. You got to try to stop them. You got to try to stop them, or it's over, right? That is fun. It also is like if you're the person that needs to try to stop and you're like, well, I guess I got to waste a turn trying to do this, even though it's not going to get me a lot of points, but it's all going to help everyone else as well. Tough choice. Do you want to do it? Or do you want to pass the buck to somebody else? Maybe all 3 you pass the buck. It's a 4-player game. That player comes back and they're not able to get the 4th one, right? Maybe you're not always going to be able to get what you want, right? So you got to weigh that. But shooting the block, the fact that there isn't immediate victory condition, I love immediate victory conditions in games, in shorter games like this. I think they add tenseness. They add a good strategy. If you think you're losing, go for it, right? I really love it. It works really well here. It's part of what makes this game stand out from what it normally would. If that victory condition wasn't there, I think it'd be an average game. Having that in there and the tenseness brings it up to an above average game. Piggybacking, love that, to score more points. So you get one, and then you get one next to it. Then you get one next to that one. Then you get one there in a little block of 4. Now you've got 3 extra points you got there. And so it's really good. Or you get that middle spot. You can start working all the way around it and stuff like that. It's cool. It's great. It's combo building. It's kind of like the Azul scoring, where the more things you put next to each other from before, the more you're going to get. Maybe you build some out, then you put one right in the middle, and you get a bunch of points. Other players are going to try to block you from that too. It does scale with player count, and so the different setup with which side is being used and how many spots are there. Overall, it's a pleasant game. It's 15 minutes of Yahtzee rolling fun, right? It's more fun than Yahtzee just because you have all these other things going on. What did I not like about it? The end of the game can drag out quite a bit, especially if you use a certain amount of red tiles. Those red tiles are harder ones to get. Now, the rules just say randomly shuffle these things and put them out there, right? I have found that's not the best way because you might get a lot more red tiles one game than another game. And those are harder to get, which means as the easier spots get taken, and maybe the harder spots are the ones that are flipped over where there's 2 people that can go there. So the easier ones have less spaces. So you can find yourself towards the end of the game having a handful of turns that are lackluster and a little less exciting because maybe 3 people in a row just didn't get to place anything. And well, we get to go again. Let's try it again. Let's try to get these harder ones. I kind of wish they would have said, you know what, use X, don't use any more than X amount of red ones, right? And shuffle up a certain amount of red ones and use the other ones. Now that would make the variability a little bit less, right? Because if you use all of the green and blue ones, I think there's 3 red ones you'd put out. I forget. I did the math at one point. So you play with the variability, you reduce the replayability of the game when you do that, but you might make the end result better. So I found that the game can overstay its welcome a little bit if you put too many red tiles in there. The other thing is the happy hour variant tries to combat that, which is, hey, you can't go? Roll a die and see what happens. Maybe you can move a spot. Maybe you can swap a thing. Some of those are actually good and they're exciting. The just get 4 points or lose or 3 points, that is just not good. Because in a game that's very close, a lot of times, you're just going to randomly win or lose because you rolled a 1 or a 6. I didn't get that. I like the idea of, hey, let's do something extra if you don't get it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Basically means like, okay, we'll see what happens. But I hated the scoring ones. So I don't know. I would not play with that lucky variant. I would have liked to have seen develop something a little further, some better ideas than the points ones. In this case, I might play with that other variant and just say, hey, if you roll a 1 or 6, roll again. We're not just giving you or subtracting points. That's dumb. So I wish that was developed a little further. It can help with that previous thing, but the scoring, ugh. Anyway, if you're looking for a quick Yahtzee-style 15-minute dice game that's light-themed, looks good, and you'll have some fun with it, I think Pina Coladice is one you might want to check out. This has been the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships to board games, and helping you find the next one you love. Game Toppers upgrades every game you play, and they just launched their 4.5 Kickstarter, which will introduce the new Galactic, Mycroft, and Watson Game Toppers with interchangeable rail inlays, as well as new game mats, miniature gaming terrain packs, leg kit options, dining covers, accessories, and amazing package deals. Search for Game Toppers on Kickstarter or go to GameToppersLLC.com.